All right. So to stay with the offense for a second, because I think, we all have to talk about Devin Leary, and people know if
Yeah,
you've subscribed to our channel, you know how high certain some of us are. I mean, our colleague Blaine Gilmer has talked about just the possibility of this guy just being, the next Joe Montana, and I mean that half jokingly. Like, we are very
yeah.
high on Devin Leary, and I think it's very clear. And so just for you, as you look at Devin Leary coming into this thing, and I know there's, like it or not, there's going to be comparisons to, Will Levis, and can they eclipse what the potential was when Levis was there, and all these other things. But I think, and someone brought this up, I can't remember exactly in the conversation we had, but you really just think about, what he was able to do for that NC State team. And,
Right.
I think now you see him again, and we can tie in the wide receiver group into this and what that's going to be able to do for him.
Mhm.
Oh, and by the way, they picked up a, not too bad running back in Ray Davis, who is going
Sure.
to come in and have a chance to have a huge season as well. So I think it's the overall package, but as we know, it starts with the quarterback. And
Yeah.
I just think it's, and you hear some of the things, I guess, just coming out of getting ready for this upcoming season, and everybody's talking about just the leadership aspect, all these other things that you get with this guy. And at least to me, it sounds like on paper, I mean, I don't know how you could ask for sort of a better setup here for Devin Leary heading into the season. As we said, tying in Liam Cohen, the parts around him. I mean, I would have to think that there's a
Yeah.
reason expectations are this high.
No question. And people make the comparisons between Will Levis and Devin Leary. I think the talent level is comparable. I think Levis, at this point in his career at Kentucky, was more of a pro prospect maybe than perhaps Devin Leary is considered. But I'll tell you this: the kid went 9-3 as a starter 2 years ago, and I think threw 35 touchdowns and maybe 5-6 interceptions the entire year. Now that's against ACC talent, but I don't care which conference you play in.
No.
That's pretty darn impressive. The question is, can he bring that over to SEC play? Many believe that he not only will, but will do it at a high level. All of the talent, all the tangibles are there. I think, you asked about Will Levis and maybe some comparisons. I think one of the contrasts is that he hasn't come in maybe as boisterous and outspoken as Will Levis did. And many may remember the Hellman's mayonnaise, bit on Twitter, and eating the banana and with the peel on it and all of those things. Levis kind of came in with that bravado. He backed it up in his first season here at Kentucky, and I think Leary has gone about it in a little bit different fashion, maybe more of a quiet leader, but his play was quickly recognized. And I think he got the buy-in of not only people on offense, but even the defensive side of the ball. Everybody believes this guy, according to those that closest to the organization, that he's not only going to play, but play at a high level and maybe challenge for first team conference recognition at the quarterback position. We'll see, a lot of hype, a lot of positive rumors and energy coming out of his play from fall camp, and now it's time to translate it to the football field.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Stoops called him, I think, as just a natural leader. JJ Weaver talks about just sort of powerful leader, and even Barry and Brown. I think I saw some comments from him several months ago, just sort of talking about just the ability to, hey, when he makes a mistake, he doesn't hide it. Like, he's like, yeah, I messed up there, and those kind of things, and just to admit that there are still things that he has to work on. And so I think that is definitely something, when you're talking about a quarterback, we know how important that is. And so there's definitely aspects of that is makes it. And you just said it. Think about in a league of where you have quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels and KJ Jefferson and going up and down the line. Yeah, he's still being mentioned, in that potential group of being guys like that who could be Heisman candidates. I think when you talk about Daniels and KJ Jefferson, if all goes well. And so,
Sure.
yeah, so there's a lot of anticipation, I think, to see what Devin Leary looks like in this offense. Now, one thing that will need to be better for Devin Leary to have a great season
I have no idea what
is
you're going to say next.
I think every Kentucky fan watching this understands what the transition is going to
Yeah,
be here is the offensive line. And,
sure.
that was a big topic for people in this, off season, looking at just the pieces that were going to be added to the mix and just what this group is going to look like going into the season. Because yes, there were, and it was easy, to hate on Levis at times, I think, for people outside Kentucky last year, and just to say it was all him. But as we know, if you watch the games, you could see there were just times where no one would have had a chance based on that. So I guess, Stuart, the question is, your expectations for this offensive line, and can they make a significant jump to the point to where this Kentucky team can, get potentially to a double-digit win type season?
Yeah, a lot of focus, emphasis, and pressure, frankly, on the offensive line for this coming season. Mark Stoops in Kentucky football for the better half of the last, I would say the last 5 or 6 years, certainly produced several pros off their offensive line units. And Kentucky fans came to expect a high level of play, high degree of physicality, and we just dominated. Kentucky dominated most of the opponents they played at the point of attack, and certainly that fell off last year. And you had a lot of guys, Blake, that played out of position last year. And so a lot of those guys like, Kenneth Horsey and Jager Burton, moving to their correct positions. Burton at center, he did play there last year, but Jeremy Flax and Eli Cox. And then to go with that, you bring in some much needed transfer help from the portal to kind of bolster those left and right tackle positions. Marquez Cox from Northern Illinois, you consider a pro prospect. All looks like he'll be the starter at left tackle. And then you've got kind of a two-legged or a two-horse race with Jeremy Flax and Cortland Ford. Ford came out of Southern Cal in the transfer portal, and I don't know if a starter's been named yet for the first game, but those two offering much-needed support at that right tackle position. All of that together, it should be a much improved unit. The rumors coming out of camp again that these guys have gelled. Leary certainly made everybody's life easier, but I think it goes both ways. And it really goes back to Leary. If that offensive line can keep him upright, right, and give him time, he has the talent, certainly, and the people around him at the skill position to do some very dangerous things.